Listen, there comes a point when you have to decide, are you going to continue being a character in someone else's delusion, or are you going to step into reality and take control of your life? Because here's the truth. A narcissist doesn't love you. They need you. And that's a very different thing. When you walk away from a narcissist, you take back your power. It may not feel that way at first because the act of leaving is difficult, emotionally draining, frightening, and uncertain. But what you may not realize is that in that very moment when you decide to step away from the chaos and manipulation, you are reclaiming the most important thing you have, your autonomy. Narcissists thrive on control. They need to keep you in their orbit, constantly needing their validation, constantly seeking their approval. They want you to believe that without them, you are less than whole, less than capable, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In a narcissistic relationship, you are often made to feel small, to feel as though your needs, your thoughts, and your desires are secondary to theirs. They twist reality, gaslighting you, making you second-guess everything about yourself. Over time, if you allow it, you may lose sight of who you are and what you stand for. Narcissists don't just manipulate you with their words, they manipulate your very sense of self. This constant erosion of your identity happens so subtly that you may not even realize it. You may think you are being reasonable, understanding, and forgiving, but what you're actually doing is giving away pieces of yourself, bit by bit. The narcissist is a master at maintaining an illusion, an image of themselves as superior, always right, and deserving of admiration. They draw you in with charm, with promises of love, but it's all conditional. You are only loved as long as you feed their ego, as long as you fulfill their needs and serve their image. And the moment you start asserting your own needs, the moment you show any sign of independence, the narcissist will shift. They'll use guilt, shame, and manipulation to reel you back in. They want to keep you bound to them, under their control, because as long as you're there, they can maintain their fragile sense of self-worth. When you choose to walk away, you break that cycle. You no longer accept their manipulation or their need for dominance. You refuse to participate in the game they play, the game where you are always the one losing. And while it may feel like you're giving up something, perhaps the relationship, the hope for change, the belief that things could get better, the truth is you're gaining something far more valuable, your independence, your ability to choose what is best for you without someone else pulling the strings. Walking away is not about abandoning hope for the other person. It's about recognizing that you cannot fix them, that their behavior is not your responsibility, and that your life is too precious to waste on someone who will never see you for who you truly are. You are not a pawn to be moved around, not an object to be controlled or used for someone else's gain. You are a person with your own dreams, desires, and needs, and those things deserve respect. Taking back your power means you no longer allow someone else to define your worth. You have the right to live a life that is authentic, free from manipulation and deceit. When you walk away, you create space for yourself to heal, to rediscover who you are, and to become the person you were always meant to be. The narcissist may try to convince you that you'll never be able to live without them, but that is their illusion, not the truth. The truth is that the power has always been in your hands. You just needed to realize it. A narcissist cannot function without a steady source of validation, and that source is you. They might present themselves as independent, self-sufficient, and even superior, but the truth is they rely entirely on the people around them to uphold their fragile sense of self. Their confidence is an illusion, propped up by the energy, attention, and emotional investment of others. They don't just want you in their life. They need you to fuel their existence. Without your reactions, whether positive or negative, they start to lose control, not just over you, but over the false identity they have carefully crafted. Everything a narcissist does is designed to keep you engaged. They manipulate, lie, and create chaos because it ensures that you are constantly thinking about them, responding to them and adjusting your actions based on their behavior. If you're trying to prove yourself, earn their approval, or avoid their disapproval, they are winning. The moment you stop feeding into this, they begin to unravel. They may act as if losing you is no big deal, as if they can replace you instantly, but that is just another deception. What they won't show you is the desperation beneath the surface, the growing emptiness they feel when they no longer have someone to manipulate. They target people who are empathetic, understanding, and willing to see the good in others. These traits, which are signs of strength in healthy relationships, become vulnerabilities in the hands of a narcissist. They exploit your kindness, using it to make you feel responsible for their emotions and their well-being. They condition you to prioritize them over yourself, to feel guilty for setting boundaries, and to believe that if you just try a little harder, things will get better. But no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. They don't want a balanced relationship, they want control. If you ever begin to pull away, they will do everything in their power to stop you. They may suddenly become affectionate, making promises they never intended to keep. They may create drama to draw you back in, knowing that you care enough to try to fix things. If that doesn't work, they may shift to insults, threats, or playing the victim, anything to provoke a reaction from you, because as long as you are reacting, they still hold power over you. The worst thing you can do to a narcissist is not hate them, not argue with them, but simply stop engaging. When you recognize that they need you more than you ever needed them, everything changes. The fear of losing them disappears because you see the truth. You were never dependent on them. They were dependent on you. They manipulated you into believing that they were the center of your world, when in reality it was your strength, your love, and your presence that sustained them. When you take that away, they are left with nothing but themselves. And that is the one thing they have spent their entire life trying to avoid. When you walk away from a narcissist, something happens that they are completely unprepared for. They are left alone with themselves. Narcissists spend their entire lives avoiding true self-reflection because deep down they fear what they might find. Their entire identity is built on a carefully crafted illusion, one designed to hide the truth from both themselves and the people around them. They have spent years manipulating others into propping up this false image, ensuring that they are constantly validated, admired, or at the very least feared. But when you leave, that structure begins to collapse, and they are forced to face a reality they have desperately tried to avoid. A narcissist cannot self-soothe, nor can they find comfort in genuine introspection. Their sense of self is fragile, built on external praise and control over others rather than internal confidence. Without someone to validate them, they begin to feel empty, anxious, and restless. They may try to fill that void quickly by finding someone else to manipulate, but deep down they know it's not the same. They have lost the control they had over you, and with it, the steady source of attention that kept their ego intact. This is why a narcissist will often cycle back, trying to reinsert themselves into your life. They may not want you as a person, but they want what you provided for them: validation, admiration, or simply a sense of superiority. They do not miss you the way a normal person would. They miss the role you played in their game. When you leave, they are left to sit in the discomfort of their own unresolved issues, and that is something they have spent their entire lives running from. Their mind becomes their worst enemy. Without an audience, they are forced to rely on their own perception of self-worth, and that perception is deeply flawed. They may spiral into self-pity, anger, or even paranoia, blaming everyone but themselves for the emptiness they feel. They might lash out, trying to regain a sense of power by smearing your name, playing the victim, or attempting to provoke a reaction from you. Anything to distract themselves from the unsettling silence that follows your absence. Some narcissists will attempt to reinvent themselves, creating a new illusion for a new audience. But even as they do, there is always the lingering fear that their mask will slip again, that they will once again be abandoned, exposed, or forgotten. They cannot handle being irrelevant. They cannot bear the idea that you have moved on without them, that you have taken back the power they worked so hard to steal. And so, without you, they crumble. Not in the way you might expect, not with open regret or reflection, but with a desperate scramble to fill the void you left behind. They may never admit it, and they may work tirelessly to appear unaffected, but deep down, they know the truth. You were never the one who needed them. They were the ones who needed you, and they will spend their entire lives trying to replace what they lost. Self-respect is not just an abstract concept, it is the foundation of your freedom. In a relationship with a narcissist, self-respect is the very thing they try to strip away from you. They do it slowly, in subtle ways at first, making you question yourself, making you believe that your feelings are overreactions, that your needs are too much, that you are the problem. Over time, without realizing it, you begin to lower your stand, you begin to accept less, to tolerate more, to adjust yourself to fit their shifting expectations. But the moment you reclaim your self-respect, the entire game changes. A narcissist thrives on control, and they cannot control someone who values themselves enough to walk away. They cannot manipulate someone who refuses to accept less than they deserve. This is why they fight so hard to break you down, because the stronger your sense of self, the less power they have over you. Every time you set a boundary, every time you refuse to engage in their chaos, every time you choose your own peace over their approval, you take back the power they tried to steal. Fear keeps people trapped in toxic relationships far longer than they should be. Fear of the unknown, fear of being alone, fear that maybe the narcissist was right about them all along. This fear is not accidental. It is carefully planted and nurtured by the narcissist over time. They condition you to believe that they are the only source of love, the only person who will ever understand you, the only one who will tolerate your so-called flaws. They manipulate your sense of reality so that the idea of leaving feels like stepping off a cliff into complete uncertainty. But the truth is, the real danger isn't in walking away, it's in staying. A narcissist thrives on your hesitation. They know that if they can keep you afraid, they can keep you under their control. They use unpredictability to keep you off balance, creating an emotional roller coaster where you are constantly trying to avoid their disapproval or win back their affection. The highs feel euphoric, the lows feel devastating, and in between there is an exhausting sense of confusion. This cycle is what keeps people stuck. It creates the illusion that maybe, just maybe, things will change if they try a little harder, if they become a little more patient, if they love a little more. But no matter how much effort is put in, the narcissist remains the same. The moment you decide to leave, fear will try to hold you back. Your mind will be flooded with doubts. What if you regret it? What if they really did love you in their own way? What if you're making a mistake? This is the final trick of a narcissistic relationship. The belief that somehow walking away is the wrong decision. But that is the illusion they have built to keep you tethered. In reality, the only mistake is staying in a place where you are not valued, where you are constantly drained, where your self-worth is being chipped away piece by piece. On the other side of fear is freedom. At first, it won't feel that way. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, uncertain, even painful. The narcissist may try to pull you back in, sensing that they are losing control. They may use guilt, anger, or even sudden kindness, anything to make you question yourself. But if you hold the line, if you resist the urge to go back, something incredible happens. The fog lifts. The weight that has been pressing down on you begins to disappear. You start to remember who you were before they convinced you that you were not enough. The fear that once seemed overwhelming begins to shrink. You realize that the life you were so afraid to lose was never truly yours. It was a life built around their needs, their wants, their validation. And now, for the first time in a long time, you have the chance to build something real. Not a life dictated by someone else's expectations, but a life where you are free to be yourself, without fear, without compromise, without the chains of a narcissist holding you back. Healing after leaving a narcissist is not just about moving on, it is about rebuilding yourself from the inside out. When you have spent so much time being manipulated, controlled, and made to feel small, the process of rediscovering who you are can feel overwhelming. It is not as simple as just deciding to be happy. The damage they inflicted was not just emotional, but psychological. They planted seeds of doubt, made you question your own reality, and conditioned you to believe that their version of you was the truth, but it wasn't. And now, without their voice in your ear, you finally have the space to find out who you truly are. At first, there is a void. The absence of their chaos can feel unsettling. You may find yourself second-guessing your decision, wondering if you made the right choice, even missing them despite everything they put you through. This is normal. Narcissists create an addiction to their presence, keeping you trapped in a cycle of highs and lows. When that cycle is broken, withdrawal begins. But what you are really missing is not them. It is the version of yourself you had to become just to survive them. That version of you accepted less than they deserved, walked on eggshells, and put someone else's needs above their own. That version of you was doing the best they could in an impossible situation. But now, that version of you no longer has to exist. With distance comes clarity. The longer you are away from them, the more you begin to see the truth. The more you realize how much energy you spent trying to keep them happy, how much of yourself you sacrificed just to keep the peace. You see how much they took, how little they gave, and how none of it was ever about love. It was about control. And when that truth sinks in, something shifts. The anger, the sadness, the regret, they begin to turn into something else. Strength, determination, a deep, unshakable knowing that you will never allow yourself to be treated that way again. Healing is not linear. Some days will be easier than others. There will be moments where the past pulls at you, where the scars they left feel too deep to ever fully fade. But each time you choose yourself, each time you set a boundary, each time you recognize your worth, you take another step forward. You begin to see that the power they once held over you was never real. It was only ever the power you unknowingly gave them. And now that power is back where it belongs. One day, without even realizing it, you will wake up and they will no longer be the first thing on your mind. Their words will no longer hold weight. Their memory will no longer stir pain. You will no longer be defined by what they did to you, but by what you did for yourself. And that is the moment they truly lose, because they tried to break you, but all they did was make you stronger than ever before. Walking away from a narcissist is not just about leaving them behind. It is about reclaiming yourself. It is about breaking free from manipulation, rediscovering your worth, and rebuilding a life that is truly yours. They wanted you to believe you needed them, but the truth is they needed you. They thrived on your energy, your kindness, your willingness to keep trying. Without you, their illusion crumbles. Healing is not immediate, but every step forward is a victory. The fear, the doubt, the pain, they all fade with time, replaced by strength, clarity, and self-respect. One day, their hold on you will be nothing but a distant memory, and you will stand stronger than ever, free from their grasp. They did not break you. They revealed the power within you, and that power is something no one can ever take away again. You are free, you are whole, you are unstoppable.